Well, my name is Ron Nelson. I'm a member here at Salem First Christian Church. I started my church experience as a child when we lived on our farm in Turner. My mother took me and my two brothers to Turner Christian Church. And when I was 11, we moved to a new farm up by Silver Falls State Park. And there I attended a small country church called Chapel in the Hills. About that time, my mother got cancer and went through a lot of surgery and treatments for the next 5 years until she died. And at 16, our family went kind of downhill, and I wound up leaving home. So I lived with a family in that community from the church. So after high school, I went to college in Monmouth. And after that, I started my career in law enforcement. My career was going very well, but my personal life was pretty shallow. I wasn't married. I wasn't going to church for many years. Then in 1990, I proposed to Cindy and she accepted. And that little seed that was planted in me at Turner Christian Church began to grow again. So I realized we needed to find a church that we could be married at. So I wanted one that was a Christian church and one in downtown Salem. So I simply just opened the phone book and went down and found a Christian church downtown, and it was this church. So I called the pastor, Chuck Giroux, met with him, and our wedding plans were in progress after that. I learned something I didn't know before. When we sent out the wedding invitations to the family, I learned that I had grandparents on my mother's side who were members here. And I also learned that I had an aunt and uncle who were members here too. So that was a bit of a surprise. Our marriage ceremony started. I was in the church waiting for people to arrive, and I noticed a lady seated at the organ. She was waiting for everything to start. She was going to play for our ceremony. So I went up to her, and that's where I learned my first lesson from somebody at this church. I asked if I could pay her for playing at our ceremony. She just looked at me and said, "Just promise to kiss your wife goodnight every night." So I thought, wow, I don't know what to think about that. But after some time, I thought, well, that's a lesson in love, one that money can't buy. And I've been trying to keep that promise now for over 30 years. So we started to go to church on occasion until our son was born. His name is Jeremy. Most of you might remember him. And we started coming to church every Sunday. So we were going and listening to sermons. We were in the discovery class, Bible study. We went to Max Meek hikes, volunteered for things like Habitat for Humanity, family building blocks, and just a whole wide range of service opportunities that we participated in. So then we were eventually I was asked to become an elder. So I was an elder for 3 years and learned a lot. And after that, I was asked to be on the board. And the board or church business is not something I know much about. But fortunately in the church, there are a lot of people who do know about it. So between them and our excellent staff, I was able to navigate my way through some of the church business and learn and try. And now I'm still on the board and working in long-range planning to try to help develop plans for the future of the church. So that's really, in a nutshell, my experience here. Thank you for listening, and see you in church.